So today was my first day of trying to do every football quiz in class. We started off with one of my favorites, Immaculate Footy, the tic tac toe grids. The first one was AC Milan and Italy. There's like a billion options. I decided to go with Fabio Borini. Don't ask why, he was just on my mind. A very weird transfer, if you guys remember. He went from Sunderland to AC Milan. Of course, we got Sirigu for PSG, Juventus Juve. There's a couple. Moise Keane. Well, I mean, there's a lot. I decided to go with Fagiolo. I think he came through the academy. I don't know too much about him. Buffon, of course, started at Parma, ended at Parma, played at PSG for a couple seasons. Parma and AC Milan. This one I didn't know too much about, but I remember that Darmian started his career at Parma, if I'm not mistaken. This one was pretty easy. Of course, Kulusevski, Juventus signed Kulusevski from Parma just maybe 2-3 seasons ago before selling him to Spurs, of course. I struggled a bit on this row. I'm not sure why. Inter Milan, AC Milan, of course, there was Ibrahimovic. And, well, I went with Balotelli. Kandreva was a great pull for this one. Many people don't remember. He actually started off at Juventus around 2000, early 2000s. I'm not sure when. And for the last one, we just went easy, Hakimi. Now we go to a different website, Football 11. This one I discovered recently. It's pretty interesting. There's a bunch of mini games. This one I was not good at, I'll tell you right now. Spoilers, Liverpool 04-05. I don't know much about Liverpool. I don't know much about the early 2000s. I struggled heavily. So we can pretend that one did not happen. Let's move on to the next game. This one's one of my favorites. I like Wordle. Guessing words. It's the same concept. If you've ever played Wordle, you'll know what this game is. My tactics usually involve guessing a name at first and then just kind of button mashing, if that makes sense. Not really putting letters that make sense, but putting letters so I know what goes where. So I got off to a good start. I had S and I had A. That's until I found out there was an H. Now my thinking was maybe it ends in CH. I thought that's what it could have been, which is why I guessed H at the ending. And I was struggling here for a bit, but finally got it. Mohamed Salah. That took me way too long. This one is either really easy or really difficult. James Rodriguez was not a valid guess for some reason. It didn't even tell me that it was right or wrong. It just said could not be found. So whatever, I guess. I ended up skipping because I just couldn't be bothered. I was tired, I'll be honest. So played with Hulk and Akanji. I thought maybe it's a Brazilian that played with Akanji, because I know Hulk has played for the national team a couple of times, but it was not Ederson. We stay on the Man City route. Right now I'm still thinking Brazilian, because Brazilian Man City. But Fernandinho and Akanji would not have crossed paths. Fernando and Akanji wouldn't have crossed paths. So I decided to skip. Now I started to think more Belgians. Belgians who have played at Porto. I couldn't really, because Hulk does not have a wide variety of teams to choose from. It's in Portugal, in Russia, and then China. And now in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. But I just couldn't think of anyone. It was difficult. The last clue didn't help me either. And I ended up getting it wrong. It was Witsel. Of course, Witsel played with Hulk in Russia, which I did not think of. Akanji in Dortmund. And then De Bruyne, Eden, Hazard with the national team. And Molina right now at Atletico Madrid. Now we have another grid. I'm usually good at the grids. This is my bread and butter, so I misspelled Origi a couple of times. You know, Liverpool, Brazilian could have went with anyone. Fabinho, Allison. Wanted to go with Lucas Leiva just for why not? We got Ashley Young for Inter Milan or Manchester United. Same thing with Lukaku. Inter Milan or Manchester United both would have worked. And as for Inter Milan Brazilian, we decided to go with Jesus, who also played for Roma, if I'm not mistaken. Now this one was doing my head in. Yanizai, Adnan Yanizai. How do you spell Yanizai? I was so convinced it ended in AI. I tried everything I could think of, but it just was not to be. So I gave up on that for now. For the time being, I gave up on Yanizai, much like most of the footballing world has at this point. Because what happened to him? Casemiro, Smalling. I'm back to thinking about Belgians for Manu. Of course, Lukaku would have worked, but I've already used him for Inter Milan. I decided to give Januzaj one last go and finally got it right. It ends with a J. I'll try to remember that. Next up, we have one of my favorites. These are always really fun. Of course, you have to be smart about which position you choose, because some nations have more well-known players in some positions compared to others. So far, we're doing fine. Alaba went into center back. Moises Caicedo. Ecuador could have tripped me up a bit, but luckily we had that open. For example, if for Ecuador it was a goalkeeping spot available, I don't think I would have gotten that because I do not know any Ecuadorian goalkeepers. Now, Korea Republic. This gave me issues. I knew they had a goalkeeper called Kim because if you remember, during the World Cup, there was that viral stat of their entire center backs and goalkeeper were all called Kim. But I just couldn't think of anything. Kim didn't work, and after that, I did not know any other players. See, if I had kept the striker spot open, I could have went for Hwang Gi-chan or Heung-min Son, or the center back for Bayern Munich, Kim Min-jae, but I had to give up and ended it short. See, Kim Tao. See, I knew the defender was Kim, but I guess Kim was not good enough for an answer. I needed his full name. A bit disheartened, I moved on to the clubs. Inter Milan, we put in Mkhitaryan, Breel Embolo. I really liked him during his times at Schalke. He was like a up-and-coming star. We're kind of breezing through these. Frimpong, Ramsdale, Fabian Schär. Just out of spite, I decided to go with the South Korean Heung-min Son. Aaron Cresswell for left back, even though I think Emerson starts over him for West Ham right now. We got Milinkovic Savic for Al Hilal and Aymeric Laporte for Al Nasser. So that was a successful grid. All 11 positions were filled out. Legends and South America I decided to skip because I just don't know enough to successfully attempt it. I tried the World Cup one, but I knew I had no chance as soon as I saw the first nation being Saudi Arabia. So I gave up on that pretty quick and moved on to something else. I moved on to a football bingo. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just sort every player into whatever they match. So Valverde's from South America. Vidal didn't match anything here, so I had to skip. And you cycle through the players until you get a folk bingo card. Xherdan Shaqiri, I thought he might have played a bit at Monaco, but I was mistaken. Luckily, there's no real penalty for getting it wrong. You just try again. So this is a pretty chill game mode. It just helps you increase your ball knowledge. We're down to the final two. I just needed a German and the World Cup winner. I thought Militao might have won it for a second, but I remembered absolutely not. Neither did Thiago Silva. Lamar won it with the France squad. If you guys don't remember, he was actually in that World Cup France squad. And finally, Joshua Kimmich to round off the grid. I promise I'm usually better than that. That was not my best showing. I messed up on the first categories thing. I messed up a bunch on the player guessing. It wasn't the best. But if you still enjoyed it, make sure to like. A subscription would be much appreciated. And comment down below what other games you want to see me play. If there's any other daily football ones, or maybe I'll do the same thing but basketball version. I know there's a lot of them. Hurdle, Larry Birdle, there's a bunch. But yeah, again, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.